Hi everyone and welcome to my channel called zuzanareacts, where I learn all things Bharat with your help, and I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. And in today's video we're going to look into ancient wisdom about space and time, and it's about a video from Project SHIVOHAM that you guys really very much like. But before we get into that,
please like this video and click on the subscribe button and turn on the notification. Thank you so much for your support.
All right, let's get this party started.
If we take a look into the history of Bharat, the profound understanding of space and time of Bharat is just incredible and undisputable. The knowledge about computation of space and time that has emanated from Bharat is just unbelievable. राक्षसालय देवैकः शौलयोर मध्य सूत्रगाः रोहितक अवंती च यथा सन्नितं सरः. The translation is the South Pole is referred as Rakshasalaya and the North Pole is referred as Devatalaya. Why and what? Let's not get into that for the moment. But the line that runs from Rakshasalaya to Devatalaya, which is from south to north, it passes through two important cities, Avanti, which is Ujjain, and Rohitaka, which is today's Rohtak. This essentially defines the prime meridian, which is the basis for computation of a time in a day. But what's important to look behind this concept is the origins of latitudes and longitudes. The concept of mapping the entire globe with those imaginary lines, what we are using today for our GPS, it dates all the way back to Surya Siddhantam, or maybe even before that. Now, let me get this very straight. I'm not saying that GPS was invented back then, for God's sake. All I'm saying is the concept of latitudes and longitudes, the antiquity of this scientific concept is far more older than what we could possibly imagine. And that essentially translates to the profound understanding of Bharatiya civilization on the concept of space and time. As I said, it's incredible and undisputable. This essentially defines the prime meridian, which is the basis for computation of a time in a day. But what's important to look behind this concept is the origins of latitudes and longitudes. The concept of mapping the entire globe with those imaginary lines, what we are using today for our GPS, it dates all the way back to Surya Siddhantam, or maybe even before that. Now, let me get this very straight. I'm not saying that GPS was invented back then, for God's sake. All I'm saying is the concept of latitudes and longitudes, the antiquity of this scientific concept is far more older than what we could possibly imagine. And that essentially translates to the profound understanding of Bharatiya civilization on the concept of space and time. As I said, it's incredible and undisputable. And once that vertically running prime meridian from North Pole to South Pole is defined, based on that prime meridian, global space time calculations also emanated from Bharat. And here is an example. Udayo yo Lankayam Sauryastamaya Savitureva Siddhapure Madhyahno Yamakotyam Roma Kavisher Dharatra Saha. And the translation of the slokam is when the sun rises in Lanka, the sun sets in Siddhapura, which is like the evening in Siddhapura, and it's in the afternoon in Yamakoti and middle of the night in Romaka. So basically, what it says is Lanka, we'll see what Lanka is. For the moment, hold it on. But when it is early morning in Lanka, the sun sets in Mexican region, which is called as Siddhapura, and it is afternoon in the regions of Australia and New Zealand today, and the middle of the night in Rome. So this is probably one.
I'll just pause there for the Rome. I mean, I love how they put this Romaka over the UK and actually not even over Italy. And also this Siddhapura, yes, it's over Mexican region, but like you can see that obviously the darkness covers so many more continents. But let's continue.
One of the oldest day and night cycles precisely defined in Bharat by Varahamihira approximately in 495 AD, that is 1500 years ago. And to be precise, 13th slokam, 15th chapter, Panchasiddhantika, written by Varahamihira. And this precisely shows how profound the understanding of Bharat, the concept of space and time. This is just one example, and there are many like this. What's interesting here to observe is the names with which these places are called, like the Australia and New Zealand region is called as Yamakoti, The Mexican region or the southern part of the USA, it's referred to as Siddhapura. And Rome is absolutely not surprising. It is called as Romaca because back then there was a lot of trade happening between Rome and Bharat. And just to put this in a better perspective, Varahmihira precisely defined the global positioning and the time as you just see here. And 1,000 years later, people were still struggling to navigate to Bharat for its rich knowledge and wealth. And speaking of space time, there is one very important point on Earth that we all should be aware of. That is Lanka. Now, this is not Sri Lanka or Ravana Lanka, not getting into that. Lanka, by definition, means a land surrounded by water. And it lies somewhere in the south of Bharat on the equator. And if you remove all the water from the ocean, this is how the ocean floor would look like. And the rough location of Lanka is somewhere around this dotted line because that's where the equator passes through horizontally. So that is where Lanka is located. Now, this Lanka is a central reference point to calculate space and time in Bharat.
Okay.
Why so? What's the significance of this place? It's pretty simple and straight. This place is an intersection point of the prime meridian and equator. And one more standing example about the ancient knowledge of Bharat and the concept of space and time is the definition, or rather the nomenclature of the days of a week. First, the planets are sorted out in the order of increasing orbital velocity, and that will give us Saturn, the slowest, the Moon, the fastest. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon.
Mhm.
No surprises. Here we're talking about the Navagrahas, or rather the Saptagrahas, because Rahu and Ketu are the shadow parts of Moon. So we have 7 physical or tangible planets. So all these planets or grahas are sorted out in an increasing order of orbital velocity. And like I already said in one of the earlier videos, it's a 24-hour cycle. One full day or one full Earth rotation is divided into 24 parts. And this 24 parts, it starts with the sunrise in Lanka. At that point in time, which graha is in line with Sun, that marks start of that day, and all the planets repeated for every 1 hour period, and then comes the next planet in terms of its own orbital velocity. So as you can see here, the Saturday starts with Saturn in the line of Lanka, and if you pass through all the 24-hour period, then comes Sun itself in terms of orbital velocity in the line of Lanka, and the cycle goes on.
Interesting.
Actually, the 24 Hora system, dividing one full Earth rotation into 24 periods of 60 minutes each, is called as a Hora. And this is one way of dividing a day into equal parts. There is another way of doing the same into 30 periods of 48 minutes each, also called as Muhurta. So it's the Hora system, which the whole world that we are using today in terms of hour. What's the origin of the word hour? It is the Sanskritam word Hora. So both are right ways of dividing a day into equal parts, and the purposes are different. Hora is more used for day-to-day activities, and Muhurta is used more for auspicious purposes. Nonetheless, both are the same. And here, important to note what is Brahma Muhurtam. It is a period of 48 minutes that starts 96 minutes before sunrise. Why are we talking about this? This is another example that demonstrates our understanding about space and time. Let me tell you why and how. In the southern part of Bharat, there are 5 temples of Mahadev: Sri Jambukeshwara, Kalahasteshwara, Arunachaleshwara, Ekambareshwara, and Chidambareshwara. All these are present in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. And all these 5 are revered as Panchabhuta Sthalam. Jambukeshwara representing water, Kalahasteshwara representing air, Arunachaleshwara representing fire, Ekambareshwara representing earth, and Chidambareshwara representing space. Now, all these 5 places.
I'll just quickly stop there. What is this Panchabhuta? What's that mean? If you could let me know in the comments, that would be great. Thank you.
Or the 5 holy shrines are located on the 79 degrees longitude. While it sounds amusing that the temples spread over hundreds of kilometers apart from each other, still vertically aligned with the longitude to a decent degree. Why, or what's the reason? Let's try to understand. Sri Ujjain Mahakaleshwar is revered as the god of time and death, and Ujjain stands in the same line as in Lanka. Hence, Ujjain is taken as a reference point, and whenever the Brahma Muhurtam starts in Ujjain, that's when the Brahma Muhurtam is at its peak in this all 5 places of Panchabhuta Sthalam. Now, this is just my observation. I'm not making a sweeping statement, but when I try to match the logic behind why these five Panchabhuta Stalas are positioned geographically in reference to Ujjain. Because always remember, Ujjain has been the central point of time computation in Bharat well over thousands of years. And this is yet another example of how space and time are intertwined and very well understood as well in Bharat. So that's a very brief outlook on the ancient knowledge of Bharat in the concept of space and time. The prime meridian of Bharat once passed through Ujjain, and it still does. However, the British, by hook or crook, they made the prime meridian pass through Greenwich to satisfy the imperialistic idiots. Because one important element that the current prime meridian misses out is the obliquity of Earth, which is taken care in Bharatiya Madhya Rekha passing through Ujjain and Lanka, but is not taken care in the prime meridian. That's a very deep discussion. We'll try to summarize it in another video. And also in one of the next upcoming videos, we will see what is Jambu Dvipam. Quite a mythological place and also real as well. Let's try to understand Jambu Dvipam in one of the upcoming videos. And for now, this is all about the ancient knowledge of Bharat in space and time. And as always, thanks for watching.
It was a very interesting video. I had no idea that this is yet another part where India has a lot of knowledge, and it was really fun to hear about the Greenwich Star dig from his end. But I feel like let me know, does that make you feel really good when you know like all of these things were actually in fact originated, the basis for GPS were or originated in your land? I think it must feel pretty epic as a descendants of some super smart people. I think that is what it would feel for me. It was very interesting for me to hear about the Hora, and how we use that, and the whole concept of Lanka. I've never came across of this knowledge before. In fact, I imagined that space and time would be something where we would talk about totally different things, not very much a navigational type of stuff, but more like spiritual. But this is an interesting knowledge, and nonetheless, let me know if you were aware of this, and in the comments below. And I feel like with that being said, this is it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And I hope to see you in the next one. Until then, you do take care. Sending much love. Bye bye.